Fortune Tacoma owners, you're up next. I'm Ryan, your host here at Carbon Exhaust, and today on the lift we have a 2024 Tacoma 2.4 liter 4-door with the short bed. We got a max clearance dump kit going on. It's a 3-piece kit. It should be a pretty simple and streamlined install. Now this is designed for maximum clearance. This is modeled after the Trail Hunter, kind of designed the tip to be a little outward facing, but we'll go over more detail later on in the video. Right now, let's go head over to the tool bench and see the tools we need for the install, and let's get this thing knocked out. So the tools we're gonna need for install. Now we've already got the OEM exhaust off. So we've got our OEM spring hardware here. We're gonna reuse those. We've got the 2 clamps that are included with the Carbon Exhaust dump kit. We've got our grease for all of our joints and fittings. Our exhaust hanger removal tool by Blue Point. There's a solid part number there for you. Our impacts set to about 60 to 65 foot-pounds torque. We need a 17 mil, 14 millimeter, and of course we always use a swivel socket. All right, now that we've got our tools all laid out and everything ready to go for the install, let's go jump over underneath the truck and get this thing started. All right, so like I mentioned earlier, we already have the OEM exhaust off, and just a tip of the wise here. If you're not planning on going back to OEM, save yourself the hassle of trying to finesse the whole cat back off as a whole, and just go ahead and make one single cut right at the axle section, drop that thing down as 2 pieces, get it done in about 5 or 10 minutes versus, you know, upwards of an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on how much you have to struggle and finesse in your lift situation, stuff like that. So with the OE exhaust off, we're gonna go ahead and start with our OEM hardware, spring hardware off to the side. We've got our impact, our swivel socket, and our 14 millimeter. We're gonna go ahead and grab that front flange piece and we're gonna mate that up to the donut gasket right here. Now this kit was designed to fit either Model 2 wheel drive or 4x. You'll notice that it's got this specific bend in here. That is for the transfer case for the 4x4s. This is a 2-wheel drive model, so you'll notice a little extra clearance if you have a 4x4. Just understand that transfer casing is going to fill that void. And you're gonna wanna install your OEM hardware one side at a time, alternating back and forth. That way you're not torquing down one side or the other of the flange piece over that donut gasket. All right, so you notice I still have this loose. Nothing is torqued down just yet. We want this extra play. Now we're gonna have one female fitting on one side that's gonna mate up to the male fitting, and then another female fitting on the dump tip itself that will mate to the female or the male on the end of the muffler, the outlet of the muffler section. We're gonna go ahead and go grab from the tool bench our 2 OEM clamps now. You might as well just go get them prepped and ready to go. So let's go head over and grab those. Always make sure your hardware is facing down. Just keep your life easy. That way you can easily access the nut with a socket. All right, so once we have that complete, we want to go ahead and lubricate the OE rubber grommets that our hangers are going to slide into. Now it is going to go from the rear of the truck forward and sleeve over the head pipe fitting as well. So after you've lubricated the grommet closest to the drive shaft, you're going to remove the gasket itself, or the grommet itself, from the frame of the truck, just this outside one closest to the driver's side. And you're gonna pre-install it on the hanger itself. You'll see why in a bit. This will keep the install moving forward, meaning all we have to do is slide the muffler section forward towards the engine for the install versus trying to finesse one forward and one reversed direction or towards the tailgate of the truck. We're gonna mate it up to the male head pipe. We're gonna move it up and we're just gonna get it hung on this first hanger, the one closest to the drive shaft. Slide it on over. Now you should have enough here. You heard that pop between the joints. You can go ahead and release tension here. It should be held up. But this is where we want to go to that driver's side grommet. And we're gonna slide this on forward, back onto the frame of the truck. And now we've really got that muffler section secured. Now we're gonna repeat that process for this last little dump section. Again, we've got our clamp pre-installed. We're gonna go ahead and slide this through the grommet as far as we can. Rotate this tip up, bring the joint together, and listen for that pop. And notice, this is sitting exactly where we want it. We got that exhaust clearing the outside of the vehicle. We've got the rotational mass of the tire assisting with kind of deadening the noise from the rubber, and also throwing the exhaust note under that rear tire, trying to get it out away from the cabin. It is a dump exit. You're gonna hear this exhaust. This is a kit for the people that are looking for a little bit of excitement out of their vehicles. You'll notice I off-road quite a bit, whether it be riding moto out in the desert. This truck gets used, and I like to be able to hear where I'm at in the RPM range, and the carbon exhaust does a great job with two things. It gives me that growl that I'm looking for, adds a little bit of excitement, and it also provides some clearance when I'm off-roading, so now I don't have to worry about crushing any of my tailpipe section. It clears out right here, and it just eliminates the need for any of that exhaust piping back there. So keep that in mind when you're shopping around for these kits. Call us if you have any other questions, or if you're looking for other options for your Tacoma specifically. We do have universal options for everything. So if you don't like this kit, have no fear. You can still add that same bark to your Tacoma. Now that we've got everything kind of installed and loosely hung where we want it, we've got no clamps tightened down yet. We're gonna go back from front to rear, and we're gonna walk on each one of these bolts, whether it be on the clamps or the front head pipe. So we got a 14 millimeter up front, and then two 17 millimeters right here. We'll knock this out real quick and start this thing up. We're gonna kind of make sure this is exactly where we want it. Make sure that this is rotated in the correct direction, hanging vertically here. Looks good to go. We'll start with the front one. We're just gonna torque it down slightly, and then we're gonna go back to that rear dump section. Just give it a solid rundown. Make sure everything feels snug, secure, tight. You can't visually see any gaps, leaks, or anything that would be concerning. Now notice, exhaust play is okay. The grommet is designed this way. You're going to see movement on cold starts. It shakes and then balances out for idle. This is normal. Alright, so now we got this thing all knocked out, installed, snugged up, and ready to go. Let's go get this thing started and hear what the bark sounds like. Alright guys, so unlike other install videos in the past where we were using loaner vehicles, this is actually my truck, and I wanted to try to connect or bridge the experience of the consumer in a daily drive. So this is quite literally a daily drive, a daily commute out of my neighborhood through the track homes, through the neighborhood, through the city, and then onto the freeway. So here's a first-hand experience with the Carbon Exhaust High Clearance Dump Kit for a 24 Tacoma. And I'll go ahead and turn the AC off so it's a pure exhaust experience. so this would be 72 miles an hour, cruising on the freeway, normal tone of voice. I don't even have a mic on. The only mic we have is on the camera. So what you guys hear is as close to what you would hear inside the cab with me. So this is as much proof as I can give you guys. Obviously, we're not hearing the helicopter droning. You hear the exhaust kit, you're going to hear your exhaust if you put any type of modified muffler over your OEM system, right? But obviously you can hear my foot getting into that throttle a little bit. The exhaust note is going to reflect that. Alright guys, so it's that simple. That concludes the install here of the 2024 Tacoma. Again, this is for the 2-wheel and 4x4 models. Now, if you just stumbled across this video by chance and you don't have a 4th-gen Tacoma, you might have a 2nd or a 3rd-gen, go ahead and check out the 2nd-gen Tacoma here. Check out our 3rd-gen Tacoma kit here. Go ahead and smash that follow button, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you.